The original Solaris, directed by Andrei Tarkovsky, is one of my favorite films, but I can honestly say that Steven Soderbergh's 2002 remake is the superior movie. As with the original, psychologist Chris Kelvin, George Clooney, is summoned to a research station orbiting the planet Solaris. The planet is covered in a vast, intelligent ocean that can turn your dreams and memories into living, breathing reality. The uneasy crew members are haunted by copies of people from their pasts, and Kelvin encounters a replica of his dead wife Rhea, Natasha McElhone, after arriving at the station. Like American Psycho, Little Fish, Subject 2, and many other films I've recently reviewed, the Solaris remake is a high-quality character study. The human element, in the form of Kelvin's relationship with Rhea, is more pronounced and engaging in Soderbergh's version than in Tarkovsky's, and the new film is even better because of this. Several flashbacks in the first half of the film show Kelvin and Rhea meeting at a party, growing close, and finally parting under tragic circumstances. Unlike Sting and Jennifer Beals in The Bride, Clooney and McElhone have great chemistry together. They share a warm, relaxed, and very believable bond on screen, and these sequences show us the wonderful partner Kelvin lost. They also hint at the second chance and new life Kelvin might have with Rhea's replica. Kelvin is initially shocked to find Rhea seemingly reappearing from the dead beside him, and quickly casts her out into space, but later comes to accept the next replica and devote himself to it as a husband once more. McElhone's acting as the Rhea replica is a little robotic, but what do you expect from an alien construct whose grasp of emotions and memories is incomplete? In the second and third acts, Clooney's dedicated performance conveys Kelvin's utter determination to be with the woman he loves, whether she's real or not. Solaris, like any great movie, made me feel for its characters and think deeply about the situation. I was trying to find a single word for the emotion Kelvin and Rhea's relationship aroused inside me, and came up with mudita, a Buddhist term for sympathetic joy, or pleasure at the happiness of others. Think of it as the opposite of schadenfreude. This feeling is a more common reaction to pure romance movies, so to experience it when watching a science fiction film, albeit with a romantic current, indicates how well the lead actors play off each other and how genuine their love feels. The Solaris remake generates a wide spectrum of emotions, and most are of a magnitude that the Tarkovsky original, which I should remind you is an absolutely riveting film, didn't quite reach in hindsight. While watching the Solaris remake, I felt happiness at Kelvin and Rhea's relationship, sorrow over their breakup and Rhea's suicide, sympathy at Rhea's distress over not being real, and hope for Kelvin, tinged with misgivings over whether he's doing the right thing. In the end, I felt emotionally spent but not exhausted. This brings me to how thought-provoking Solaris is. Both films bring up the same questions, and neither does a better job of it, for the most part, but it's still worthwhile bringing them up here. First of all, is the Rhea replica, or Hari in the original, a person? I believe that she is. The duplicates of Hari and Rhea may have been created from exotic matter by an alien entity, but they are still self-aware and possess clear emotions and intelligence. If you didn't know that they were replicas, you'd just assume that they were humans with memory problems or some sort of personality disorder. Dr. Gordon, Viola Davis, chastises Kelvin for getting romantically involved with Rhea's replica, as she fears that if they brought the replica home, Solaris might infect the Earth. This is a valid concern, as Solaris's motives are never revealed. Is Solaris creating these replicas to comfort the crew or torment them? Before I go on, I need to make a slight amendment to an earlier statement. The remake does engage a little more with the question of whether the Rhea replica is the same person. The replica feels detached from her memories, as she remembers the events but can't recall being in them. Her memories are essentially second-hand. Since she was created from Kelvin's memories, the Rhea replica can only remember what Kelvin remembers about her, and toward the end of the film, Kelvin worries that he may have remembered Rhea wrong. Thus, the replica is only an incomplete echo of the original Rhea.
You're an echo, that's all. A Time Lord is so much more. A sum of knowledge, a code, shared history, shared suffering.
The Solaris remake is not perfect. Dr. Gordon and Snow are barely developed beyond Gordon's xenophobia and a surprising twist involving Snow. There is a feverish dream sequence toward the end that doesn't really make much sense. The science behind what the replicas, and by extension Solaris, are made of also feels very fuzzy.
So, physics. Physics, eh?
I nearly facepalmed when Gordon asked Snow if the replicas are made of subatomic particles. I don't know too much about physics, but if Solaris and the replicas are made of matter, and there's nothing to suggest otherwise, then they would obviously be made of subatomic particles. They certainly aren't made of dark matter, as they are visible and can interact with the regular matter of Kelvin's body. Even if the Solaris replicas were somehow composed of bosons, these force-carrying particles are still classed as subatomic particles. The 12 matter particles and 4 force particles in the Standard Model are the building blocks of all visible matter in the known universe. Granted, normal matter is estimated to comprise only 5% of the universe's energy density, with dark matter and dark energy making up the remaining 95%, but we've already ruled out dark matter, and dark energy is just the hypothesized force that keeps space expanding at the observed rate. Snow is since shown to be correct, but to me, it doesn't make sense to ask if Solaris is made of subatomic particles, as there isn't really anything else it could plausibly be made of. I was also confused when Snow said that the replicas are stabilized by a Higgs field. As far as I know, the hypothetical Higgs field is believed to give particles their mass, not bind them together. That's what the strong nuclear force does. Unlike Subject 2, this is an instance where the film dwells on the hokey science just enough for it to stick out like a sore thumb. Okay, lecture over. The last fault in Soderbergh's Solaris is the character of Snow, played by Jeremy Davies. My god, that guy is irritating. I hate his hipster douchebag attitude. I hate his awkward, evasive manner of speech. I hate the way he chews. I don't hate him as much as Ruby Rod or Spritle Racer, as he shows care for Kelvin and is actually a fairly minor character, but I still really disliked this character. The broken science and annoying minor character are rather small problems, and Tarkovsky's Solaris had some small faults of its own. Though consistently interesting, this very long film still lagged in places. The original film had some really weird costume choices, and the setting, though visually lush and intriguing, never felt like a real space station. The new CGI planet is a shimmering thing of beauty, and the sets are futuristic and very realistic, but this is just window dressing. Both Tarkovsky and Soderbergh's Solaris adaptations are relatively slim on plot, and long does not necessarily mean boring, but the new film is shorter, more to the point, and packs a more powerful emotional punch. The greater depth and diversity of emotions generated by Kelvin's relationship with Rhea, which is expanded in the new film, make Soderbergh's Solaris the better version, in my opinion. Both films are excellent pieces of cinema, but I like Soderbergh's version a little more. I have decided to forego the star system for this review and instead use letter grading. Tarkovsky's version earns a B+, and Soderbergh's version gets an A. Thanks for watching. Cheers.
You are so disgusting when you eat.